So originally first announced during Power Rangers Day on August 28th, we know that Power Rangers Cosmic Fury is going to be the 30th season of the franchise to celebrate the 30th anniversary since Mighty Morphin back in 1993. We also know that it is basically Dino Fury Season 3, but it's definitely going to be its own thing, a very special own thing, which is going to be really, really cool. I'm so blown away by what they're going to be doing with this season, but we know that the Dino Fury cast is going to be returning for a third season to now become the Cosmic Fury Rangers. Now, ever since it was first announced back during Power Rangers Day, the big question has been, what would the suits look like? What Sentai adaptation would we be doing, if we would even be doing that? You know, how many episodes was it going to be? How long was it going to be? How is this going to work? And we have most of those questions answered. They're still not, giving too much away. There still wants to be a lot of surprises and everything for it, which, of course. But we do have a lot of those questions answered during Hasbro PulseCon, which, like I said, this is old news at this point in terms of the Power Rangers news cycle, but I really want to talk about it here, and there's a lot of really cool things here. So during Hasbro PulseCon 2022, there was a panel hosted by Andre from Black Nerd Comedy with Simon Bennett, the executive producer of Dino Fury and Cosmic Fury, who's actually been able to provide a lot of answers for us on Twitter, way more than I think he ever should have, honestly. I think that he's been very vocal with the fans, which is really, really nice, but it also leads to a lot of fans asking him very repetitive questions or very ridiculous questions that he can't answer, but that's a whole story for another day. But basically there was a panel with him and the cast of Power Rangers Dino Fury and Cosmic Fury, and during that panel it got cut off right as he was about to say what Sentai adaptation they were doing. So he did dispel the rumors for the most part that Toei and Hasbro are splitting ways, which, yes, that is true that they're not splitting ways, but we're still not getting a full-on traditional Sentai adaptation with Cosmic Fury, but there will be Sentai adaptation aspects to Cosmic Fury. And basically they cut off the panel and said, hey, you can check out the full version on the Hasbro Pulse YouTube channel after PulseCon. That was a lie. It went up in the middle of PulseCon and greatly overshadowed the Lightning Collection Zord Ascension Project Astro Megazord reveal later on in the toy panel, but whatever. At that point, that Megazord had leaked like a week prior anyway, so it didn't really matter, but the fandom was very heavily focusing on the full panel that was out with Simon Bennett and everything, because that's where we got to see the suits. So the suits for Cosmic Fury, they showed off the green and gold Ranger suits, and as you can see here, this is our first live-action, fully original Ranger team. I mean, obviously you can technically count like the Spirit Rangers or something like that, or Titanium, of course, is an American exclusive, but this is the first time that we've had like an entirely exclusive Ranger team with no Sentai adaptation or trying to be some version of a Sentai suit design. So, like Titanium is trying to fit in with the Go-Go 5 suits, or the Spirits are trying to fit in with the Geki Ranger suits. And these are not trying to fit in with anything like that. They look like an evolution, in some respects, of the Resoldier suits. They keep the same helmets for the most part. They kind of add a little bit of like extra silvery detail. Kind of like, it makes me think of sort of like the Dino Drive or the Super Dino Drive mode from Dino Supercharge, where they kind of added those different like kind of colors to the helmet. It's kind of like that sort of thing. And then the entire bodysuit basically is entirely original in every regard, and I think it looks really, really cool. I think it maybe is a little too simplistic below the kind of shield parts that we see here on Izzy and Ion, but it's not the worst. I also think that it's going to kind of be a little jarring or kind of weird looking with that silver like torso piece that you can see on their right sides. It looks like both of them have it on the right sides of their suits. But I really do like the suits quite a bit. The boots are basically exactly the same from the Resoldier versions, at least on Izzy's. Ion's, it looks like they kind of go the full gold. They still keep a little bit of those blue accents on his arm, but they kind of get rid of it in other regards. But I really do like them. I know I kept saying that here, but I do. I really think that this is a pretty good job for our first time getting a full-on team without trying to base it off of a Sentai specifically. And obviously we know Cosmic Fury, with the name and the cast and everybody involved, that it was going to be a continuation of Dino Fury's storyline, so it makes sense that these are kind of an upgrade to the Dino Fury Resoldier suits. Now, one thing a lot of people have been arguing about is the Power Rangers Lightning Bolt on their belt buckles, which people keep arguing, is it too cheesy to have the Power Rangers Lightning Bolt on there? Some people try to bring up that, Zenkaiger in Sentai had the giant V on their buckles, which is like Sentai's main logo, so it's like, they did that for their anniversary, why can't we do it for ours? I think, honestly, is it slightly cheesy? Yeah, but at the same time, it really works for me. It's celebrating the 30th anniversary. We know that there's Mighty Morphin elements and characters coming back around this time frame, or even in this season specifically, so we don't exactly know how they get the Cosmic Fury powers. For all we know, they could be tied to the Mighty Morphin powers, and in that regard, it would make sense to have the Lightning Bolt, even though the Lightning Bolt has never really appeared in Power Rangers that much. It's like kind of on Alpha 5 suit design in a way, but besides that, it hasn't really appeared on anything sort of, in canon. It's always been a thing on the toys and in the logo and branding of the Power Rangers franchise, and I think celebrating it for kind of what is sort of seemingly setting up to be sort of its final season in this type of Power Rangers before Hasbro goes full-on reboot with movies and shows with Jonathan Entwistle and Jenny Klein. I think this really works to kind of be a send-off to the franchise and celebrate it in a really cool way that we haven't been able to do because of Sentai suits. And of course, we can also see some new weapons and morphers and stuff, so we can see the morpher a lot better on Izzy than we can see Ion, if he even has that morpher, because his entire left arm is this giant MOSA, like, cannon thing. It makes me think of, like, Iron Man Mark 50 from Infinity War or something like that, like those kind of, like, just random arm weapons and everything. I love that so much. It also makes me think of, like, the Plezuan arm, or the Plezocharge Megazord arm, where, like, he had, like, that entire, like, head as an arm kind of thing. It makes me think of that kind of thing, because you sort of still have the blue on there, or it's on this side to have the blue on there and everything, and kind of keep that from his Resoldier suit and implement his Zord into it. I think it looks really, really cool. And then Izzy has these new, like, tiger dagger things she's got going on here, which some people have kind of, like, sort of pointed some comparisons to, like, the Dragon Dagger, or, like, the Sword of Darkness, that kind of thing in there. And I really like how those turn out as well. I just hope that we get toys of all this stuff, which I know that seems like a duh question, but it maybe not is as much as you might think. But we can see the morpher here, or at least what we can assume is the morpher. No name for this thing or anything like that. It could just be the Cosmic Fury morpher for all we know. Now, a lot of people are kind of pointing to and trying to confirm it because of what we're going to talk about in a second, that it looks like it's possible that this morpher takes Power Rangers versions of Q-Tamas from Q-Ranger, and maybe, I don't exactly know. It does kind of look like a globe up there, so it is possible that Cosmic Fury is powered by Q-Tamas, or whatever we would call them, maybe like cosmic globes or something. I really don't know what we would call those. But yes, Q-Ranger is being adapted for Cosmic Fury. So this is really interesting to me. We're not getting a full Q-Ranger adaptation. I really thought that there was going to be absolutely no Sentai elements to Cosmic Fury whatsoever. I thought we were going to do fully original. I hadn't really thought about what we were going to do for the Zords. I know that the Zords from Dino Fury aren't really a thing anymore after following the finale, but I wasn't sure if they were just going to try to find some kind of way to bring them back and just CGI all of their fights or something. I never would have imagined we would use Q-Ranger stuff there. So what Simon confirmed is we're technically adapting Q-Ranger, but we're just not adapting the Ranger suits, we're adapting the mecha. So the mecha from Q-Ranger are going to be the Cosmic Fury Zords, which brings up a lot of questions, which we're going to get into in a second here. And also on Twitter, he's confirmed that they are going to be using footage from 12 episodes of Q-Ranger for the 10 episodes of Cosmic Fury that there's going to be. So that was one thing that was not mentioned, or two things actually that were not mentioned in the panel at all. These come from Simon answering questions on Twitter in the last couple of days and weeks following PulseCon. So he did confirm that Cosmic Fury is going to be only 10 episodes of Power Rangers. So we have 10 more episodes with this cast, 10 episodes with this current regime of, executive producers and writers and stuff like that. So Power Rangers, as we know, it has 10 more episodes left for it. What I think is really interesting about that, and what's really cool, is that you might look at that and go, 10 episodes, that's all we're going to get when we've been getting 22 a year for the last, 11 years. But at the same time, that means there's no time for filler. And even Simon Bennett has said that there's no time for filler. This is going to be a really cool plot-driven season, in my opinion, here, and kind of from what they've been setting up here. And I think that this is going to be really, really special, something really, really amazing, and I am so excited for this. What's so unfortunate, in my opinion, is that there's so much to be excited for Cosmic Fury, and then we find out that we're not adapting the Q-Ranger Ranger suits, and everybody loses it. Like, so many people keep complaining about how we finally got a Q-Ranger adaptation in some capacity, but they're not using the suits, which is what everybody wanted from a Q-Ranger adaptation. I like the Q-Ranger Zords or the mecha, but I'm sure that's not the driving force behind what people wanted them to adapt if we ever got Q-Ranger. But I'm disappointed in that regard, of course, because I love the Q-Ranger suits. Those are literally my favorite set of Sentai suit designs we've ever had. But Simon Bennett has talked about this before, even before we knew we were going to get anything Q-Ranger, that just the cast of 12 Rangers is just too much for the show to handle, and of course the toy line to handle. I mean, think about it. We didn't even get Dino Fury Black and Green in the main toy line. We locked them in an Amazon 5-pack, or Hasbro got them locked there. They're not going to even bother doing it. We're just going to get the Zords, and that's perfectly fine. But then again, we might not even get those. Who knows if we're going to get the actual toys from that stuff, which I know I keep saying that, and also we'll get back to it in a second. And truly, we will. Actually, I guess we could talk about it now. But real quick, though, the 12 episodes of Kyuranger thing. So we know that we're going to get 12 episodes of Kyuranger adapted, or at least Zord fights from those. It's really hard to say what episodes they would pick, because with Kyuranger, the whole gimmick is that the mecha, or at least on the main mecha, can swap around, like the arms can become the legs and vice versa, and that's kind of how you fit all of those Rangers with their mechas to be able to be part of the combinations. Now, the main Q-Reno combination, so if we were to use like the first episode of Kyuranger or something like that, or kind of just the default Q-Reno, that uses red, green, yellow, blue, and black, which do not match up to the main color scheme of the 6 Cosmic Fury Rangers. But it kind of does. It kind of matches. It leaves pink out, which there is a pink Ranger Zord in Kyuranger, and it also leaves gold out, which there's also a gold Ranger Zord in Kyuranger. So there's been some theories that they might give Ion the yellow Ranger Zord and do something else with the gold Ranger one or something like that, which I guess would kind of make sense. I don't know how they're going to play this. Obviously, we're going to find out, and obviously they have a plan, but it's just really fascinating to think about how they're going to make that work and what they're going to do with the other Zords. Like, are we going to tie them to Rangers somehow, and we're going to get more Cosmic Fury Rangers than we know about, which doesn't seem likely. Some people speculate maybe they could use the Q-Tama and get like new armor based off those Zords, and then, you know, kind of like they did in Dino Fury, and then those Zords just become like auxiliary Zords for other Rangers. Like maybe, you know, maybe Ion has the Yellow Ranger Zord and the Gold Ranger Zord or something like that, and I could potentially see that happening. I think that that would probably kind of work here. Another question is Zato. Is he going to stay a White Ranger? Which actually Russell Curry, and this might not be the official name of this Ranger, but he did in like a behind the scenes photo on Instagram call that new suit from the Dino Fury finale the Ghost Ranger, which is a really, really awesome name. I love that so much. So I'm going to go with that right now because we don't have like an official name on it other than people saying like Dino Fury White or like Master Mode for Dino Fury Red or something like that. So basically we don't know if he's going to keep, well, we know we're pretty confident he's not going to keep that suit. He's probably going to have it in the first episode because Cosmic Fury is supposed to pick up right from the beginning or right from the end of Dino Fury. It's just really fascinating. You know, we have 10 episodes, we have 12 episodes of footage that we know that they're going to be pulling from, and that really could be anything. And in that regard, it kind of does mean that at least I assume that the Kyuranger antagonists are going to have to be the Cosmic Fury antagonists, or at least in some capacity. A lot of people are speculating already that Don Aramage, the main villain of Kyuranger, could kind of maybe work as some kind of evolution or final form for Zed, which we know is going to be kind of the main villain or main driving, you know, villain force of Cosmic Fury, alongside other returning villains, apparently, as Simon Bennett has sort of hinted at on Twitter. So yeah, there's just so much really cool things here, and we haven't even talked about the Mighty Morphin stuff with this. But before I get to the Mighty Morphin stuff, I want to talk about toys. Of course, it's no secret that Power Rangers is a toy commercial, so of course there has to be toys in relation to Cosmic Fury. Now that pretty much seems like a no-brainer question, and it's like, why are we even talking about it? And that's because there's been a lack of any listings for Cosmic Fury toys. Now, I've gone over this many times before. I've talked about this in my kind of Toku Theory video, which is seemingly kind of building up to be relatively true. Back in June, I did a video on the listing for the Gold Ranger Morpher Blaster that was like found on Amazon Mexico, and how that pointed to a potential third year of Dino Fury toys. And I've talked about this before. I talked about this as well a couple of videos. I don't even remember which video it was. Probably another Cosmic Fury video, but I've talked about this multiple times, so I'm not going to kind of go into it super crazily here. But basically, Power Ranger toys, or just toys in general, especially at Hasbro, take like 12 to 18 months to sort of develop and get out on shelves. We've seen this with Lightning Collection. We've seen this even with the mainline stuff, with like, you know, them showing us prototypes of Mosa Rex and Terra Freeze and stuff like that before they were ready. And basically for this, it's already been confirmed and kind of talked about by Simon Bennett that the green light for Cosmic Fury was given not too terribly long ago, like not as soon ago as they usually would have gotten a green light. So with that in mind, it's possible Hasbro might not be super far along in the development process for Cosmic Fury toys. Now, this doesn't mean we're not going to get Cosmic Fury toys. I'm sure that we are. It's just possible that we could be getting them later than we would usually get stuff. Like, I'm not expecting any kind of Cosmic Fury stuff toy-wise, or maybe even the show itself, until late summer or fall of 2023. We have no current release date other than 2023 for Season 30 for Cosmic Fury. but it just kind of seems like we're probably not going to be expecting it in the first half of the year in any regard. But I hope that we get toys. I hope we get Kyuranger like Zords from Hasbro. I hope that we get figures of these suits in both the basic line and of course Lightning Collection one day eventually. And I would love to get that Morpher that we see on Izzy's arm, and maybe they would skip some of those weapons or something like that, but like at least give me figures and at least give me Zords, and I would be settled with that. And whatever the other, I really still want figures of the Ghost Ranger form. I really want that to happen. I really want to see a lot of stuff with this, but it's just kind of one of those things where I think you might be better to get in the mindset of us, like for toy-wise, for the basic line, to get more Dino Fury leftovers, like Gold Ranger's Morpher, maybe the other Zord Link Zords and stuff like that they never got to, rather than them jumping straight into Cosmic Fury. And it kind of does make sense, because if you still do some of these odds and ends from Dino Fury, it's still sort of connecting into the main show or the current show, especially because we don't know exactly how much Dino Fury carryover in Arsenal or anything like that, if there is any, will happen in Cosmic Fury, so just keep that in mind, that this toy line could be very interesting, but everything with this is very interesting. We're in very uncharted territory here with how the show is working next year, how the toy line is going to work next year, and it's probably, with all these interesting special things, the most interested and excited I've been for a Power Rangers season in like half of a decade or nearly an entire decade. This is going to be something really cool. But of course that is not it. The 30th anniversary of Power Rangers is going to bring with it an anniversary special. So we do know, and it's sort of been confusing, but in terms of like how many things they're working on, but it's been pretty much 100% confirmed that we have 2 Power Rangers projects coming in 2023, Cosmic Fury and a 30th anniversary special, which I do believe are supposed to connect into each other in some capacity. But basically, we've already heard a lot of rumors for the 30th anniversary special from Illuminati, who reported last April that David Yost was going to be returning to the role as Billy, and we had another bunch of rumors and stuff like that about other returning Mighty Morphin cast members. Some certain real-world events have made that a little bit difficult from probably what the original plan was, but basically, as it currently stands, Hasbro has officially confirmed that David Yost and Walter Jones are returning to the franchise to play Billy and Zach once again for the first time in a very long time. So Billy has not been on the franchise, or David Yost hasn't been part of the franchise on screen since Zeo, and we haven't seen Walter Jones as Zach since Mighty Morphin Season 2, which is crazy that it's been that long. We have had him come back to voice like monsters and stuff like that before or since then, but we haven't seen Zach and Billy in a very long time. So they actually were on the video, like little live stream thing during PulseCon, and they announced their return and that they were already in New Zealand. Now, it's already been heavily rumored and kind of some evidence building up with it that they are not alone. There has been rumors that Steve Cardenas is returning to play Rocky and Catherine Sutherland is returning to play Kat. Now, Kat, we haven't seen as much evidence for. It's just kind of been in some of the rumors and stuff from reliable leakers like Jinsaku and Illuminati and stuff like that. But we've seen some evidence with Steve Cardenas. There was like a convention he was supposed to appear at that again then canceled because they said he was filming something in New Zealand, and then they quickly changed that. And some people think that they've been spotting him in some of the Dino Fury or Cosmic Fury cast photos and stuff on Instagram and everything like that, which that is interesting. So we know that the Cosmic Fury cast flew out to New Zealand about a week ago, like this past weekend or so, like a couple of days ago, and we've seen them posting a lot of like behind the scenes photos of them getting back into wardrobe and back into training and everything like that. It's been really fun to see all these behind the scenes photos. I really like that. However, what's really interesting is that we know Simon Bennett is always down in New Zealand. He filmed that video that we saw during Power Rangers Day of him on the set, and we had a very similar video with David Yost and Walter Jones, and that was before the Cosmic Fury cast had flown back out, which does heavily imply that the 30th anniversary special is being filmed before the production of Cosmic Fury. We know that they're pretty much about to, if they haven't already, begun production on Cosmic Fury, which is supposed to last until about December, so around the end of the year. Now, I think it's kind of confusing if it's been confirmed if David Yost and Walter Jones are going to be in Cosmic Fury, or if they are just returning for the 30th anniversary special, if they're going to be in both. I hope and would think that they're in both, but they're at least in something. So they keep, it's like I said, it's kind of confusing. We don't really know much about this 30th anniversary special. We don't know what it's going to be called, if it's going to be before Cosmic Fury, if it's after Cosmic Fury. We know it's not a part of it. So basically, I don't even know if this is like just a one-off big special thing, if this is like a multi-parter thing. I'm assuming it's just like a big special thing. something. I don't know if that's just going to be a 22-minute thing. It has been confirmed that the Cosmic Fury episodes are not going to be longer episodes like some people were speculating, because some people thought the shorter episode count would mean longer episodes. So there's a lot of confusion with that, and hopefully we get this all cleared up relatively soon. But it's also been rumored that we do have casting out there. There's like some evidence out there pointing towards one casting for the character that is probably Trini's daughter, if those rumors end up panning out. And I'm going to include a couple article links down in the description below, because a lot of the stuff that Illuminati talked about for the 30th anniversary, and Shinsaku is talked about for the 30th anniversary, which also is on Illuminati, are sort of lining up to certain things we've seen. But obviously I'm sure there's going to be some plans that have changed because, like I mentioned earlier, some real world events. So we have a lot of stuff. There's so much stuff. I'm looking at this list here of stuff that I wanted to make sure I mentioned. We've still only seen those 2 Cosmic Fury suits, green and gold. I cannot wait to see the rest of the suits. I cannot wait to see any kind of footage from this. The fights, I'm sure, are going to be fantastic. The plot, I cannot wait. We know Lord Zed has escaped. We know that from the end of Dino Fury. We know that the team have teleported away, and they're going to deal with that. And I think it's going to be really, really incredible to celebrate the 30th anniversary of Power Rangers. And I really just hope, and I think with everything we've seen that it's going to happen, that Hasbro's building up to one amazing celebration that is going to completely outdo the 25th, completely outdo the 20th, completely outdo the 15th. Those are some pretty high bars. I think each of the last 5, when we do 5-year anniversaries, I think each of them have been pretty successful ever since Forever Red for the 10th. But I think that, we have a lot of stuff going on here for the 30th that I'm really, really hyped for. And I think a lot of Power Rangers fans really are as well. So I am super excited for 2023. I would love to know your guys' thoughts on everything I talked about here in the comments below. What do you think of the suits? What toys do you want to get? What do you think they're going to do with the Kyuranger Zords, and what episodes do you think they're going to adapt? What do you think of the Mighty Morphin 30th anniversary special and the team that they're building for that in the background? And what do you want to see happen for 2023 for the 30th anniversary that we don't already know is happening for sure? Let me know down in the comments below about all of it. And until next time, you can follow me on Twitter at LiveRangerKey or at LightningFickPR, and I'll see you all later.